Okay, hello again, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining Dragon Trail International for our first webinar of 2026, which we are holding in partnership with COITM, the China outbound and inbound travel market. Our topic today is the Chinese travel trade, and we will be sharing the results of two new surveys of Chinese travel agents and tour operators, alongside tips and suggestions for how to best work with the Chinese travel trade to sell international travel in 2026. My name is Sienna Perulis-Cook, and I'm Dragon Trail's Director of Marketing and Communications. Joining me today is the Dragon Trail research team, Janice Meng and Tiana Tien, as well as Jane Carter and Qing Hui from COITM. On the agenda today, I'm going to get things started by sharing just a few updates on the Chinese outbound travel market before turning over to Qing to present the findings of her recent survey of Chinese tour operators and travel agents. Then we'll hear from Jane, who will introduce COITM 2026, which is taking place in Beijing this October, as well as some tips for exhibiting at a Chinese trade show. Then Dragon Trail will present the results of our biannual Chinese outbound travel trade survey, which we are just releasing today. The presentation should last for around 45 to 50 minutes, after which we will have a little bit of time left for a live Q&A session. Please do feel free to send in questions at any point during the webinar by using the Q&A button on your Zoom control panel, and we will aim to answer as many as we can at the end of the session. We will also be recording today's session, and later today we will send all attendees a link to that recording, as well as a link to where you can see all of the presentation slides from today. So you will receive all of today's presentation materials for your own future reference, as well as to share with any colleagues who you think might be interested but couldn't attend the live session. For any of you who might be joining Dragon Trail International for the first time today, I wanted to briefly introduce who we are and what we do. Dragon Trail International is a marketing solutions company headquartered in Beijing, and since our founding in 2009, we've focused on marketing for Chinese outbound tourism, working with destinations, airlines, hotels, attractions, retailers, and other travel brands and businesses around the world to help them reach Chinese consumers and the Chinese travel trade. Our services include B2C and B2B digital marketing and content creation, offline, virtual, and hybrid events, research and strategy consulting, and market representation. You can find more information about our services, case studies of our work, and lots of free resources on Chinese travel and marketing trends on our website, www.dragontrail.com. Our research arm, Dragon Trail Research, was founded in 2019. Since the spring of 2020, we've been releasing regular consumer sentiment surveys, and we started doing travel trade surveys in 2023. Our research work for clients includes bespoke surveys, focus groups, travel trade insights, and more. And our presentation today on the Chinese travel trade comes from our latest survey of Chinese travel agents. But before sharing any survey results, let's first catch up on some of the latest news and developments for Chinese outbound travel. The latest data from China's National Bureau of Statistics shows that the tourism sector is growing much faster than the overall economy or other consumer spending. They reported a 25.1% year-on-year increase in transaction volume on tourism and sightseeing platforms in 2025, compared to a 5.5% year-on-year increase for all service retail sales and 5% GDP growth. Retail sales for consumer goods grew by only 3.7%. Obviously, this number, the 25.1% growth, it includes all domestic tourism and sightseeing bookings, as well as outbound bookings made through Chinese platforms. But what I think is most important is that it shows that spending on tourism is far outpacing other consumer spending, and that tourism is clearly a priority for Chinese consumers right now, where they're choosing to increase spending much more significantly than on consumer goods or other areas. The next piece of economic news is that China's currency has been getting stronger in recent months, crossing the threshold of 7 renminbi to the dollar at the end of December. Morgan Stanley projects that it will reach 6.85 to the dollar in the first quarter of the year, up from around 7.2 or 7.3 in recent years. This will give Chinese tourists much stronger purchasing power overseas and may encourage more Chinese to travel abroad in 2026. Now, moving on to some of the latest visa waivers for Chinese tourists. Turkey announced a visa-free policy on New Year's Eve, and this went into effect on the 2nd of January. One Chinese travel agency interviewed last week by the Chinese media said that inquiries about travel to Turkey had doubled, and tour packages for Turkey for the Chinese New Year holiday had almost sold out already. 2 weeks later, the Philippines announced a visa waiver policy for Chinese tourists arriving to Manila or Cebu. This comes as a surprise since visa requirements for Chinese citizens to visit the Philippines were notoriously strict, and the Philippines had only reintroduced e-visa applications for Chinese citizens in November. The Philippines has not enjoyed the same recovery and growth of the Chinese tourism market in recent years as other Southeast Asian destinations have, and the new policy will definitely help them to become more competitive. Then at the end of last week, Brazil also announced a new visa waiver policy in reciprocity with China's policy of allowing Brazilian citizens to visit as tourists or for short-term business visits without a visa. There's no implementation date announced for that yet, but Chinese tourists will be able to visit Brazil without visas very soon. Finally, looking ahead to Chinese New Year, the holiday period will be longer than ever in 2026, with a 9-day public holiday starting on the 15th of February. As of January 12th, outbound flight bookings were 63% ahead of last year, with top destinations including Seoul, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, and Sydney. So that's all the news for now. And now I would like to welcome COITM founder Qing Hui to present the findings of her recent Chinese travel trade survey.
Okay, thank you very much, Sienna. Dear industry friends, my name is Qing Hui, the founder of COITM, the China outbound and inbound travel market. I have been in the China outbound tourism exhibition industry for over 20 years. In 2025, I launched COTTM for my ex-employer Tarsus, leading the COTTM development in China for the past 2 decades. Over the past 20 years, our team served more than 6,000 exhibitors from over 100 countries around the world, collecting global tourism destinations, resources suppliers, and service providers with Chinese outbound travel market. Last summer, our team was notified that COTTM would be no longer run and was asked to leave the company. After that, our regional team then announced the launch of COITM in July 2025. We really appreciate that COITM is supported by China Tourism Academy, U-Tour, HCG, who are the leading key players of the China travel industry. Meanwhile, a number of well-known tourism Chinese top tour operators and travel platforms, including Fliggy, CYTS Tour, and Nice Tour, also offer strong support for COITM. My colleague Jane will speak more about COITM's value to the industry. As you may know, the China outbound tourism industry has grown steadily in the past three years. A recent industry report predicts that in 2026, the number of outbound trips from Chinese mainland travelers is expected to increase to 165 million, up from an estimated 155 million in 2025. To better understand the latest trends of the China outbound tourism market, for 2026. Last December, our team conducted a survey on the demands of Chinese outbound tour operators and travel agents. Now, I'm very glad to share the findings of the survey. Yeah, so 3,000 outbound tour operators and travel professionals from our database were selected for our research samples. And the survey questionnaire was distributed via 2 channels, email and WeChat. We also interviewed 15 professionals. The research lasted for 1 week with 310 valid questionnaires connected. As you can see, 81% of the respondents are tour operators, including large comprehensive tour operators, online travel platforms, theme tour operators, and 70.7% of them are MICE business operators. In terms of what the roles are in the business, we can see 20% of the respondents are senior management and 48% of them are middle levels. This slide shows the questions we asked respondents. Firstly, the prediction of the China outbound tourism market in 2026 compared to 2025. Then we asked what the main driving forces for the market are in 2026 and the ranking of outbound destinations for Chinese travelers and tourists are. Most importantly, we asked what type of products Chinese travelers will be more interested in over the next 3 years, and what type of suppliers and partners they are looking for. Finally, we wanted to know what their expectations are for COITM in October. Here are the findings of the survey. So, prediction of the market. 14% of the respondents think that the China outbound travel market will grow by over 20%, while 33% of them think the growth will be from 10 to 20%. 46% of the respondents think the market will recover steadily with an increase of 10%, approaching the 2019 levels. Regarding what are the main driving forces for the market in 2026, we have the following findings. More than 75% of people think Generation Z seeks for personalized and in-depth travel experience is the main driving force for the market growth. On the other hand, over 67% of them think senior people who are wealthy and have an abundance of time are the main force driving the market. Interestingly, nearly 49% of the respondents think new middle-class families who are emphasizing quality and travel experiences are the main driving force of the market. We also asked the respondents to rank the destinations for Chinese outbound travelers and tourists, and the results are Southeast Asia, South Australia, New Zealand will be the most popular destinations. South Asia will be the next one. Very interestingly, South America becomes the third most popular destination for the Chinese travelers, followed by the Central and West Asia regions and the Middle East. Europe and North America are no longer listed at the top as they were a few years ago. So far, we have a few exhibitors from Central Asia and Africa who have confirmed to participate in COITM, which is very good for the industry. The survey also revealed the type of products Chinese travelers would be more interested in over the next 3 years. It can be seen that high quality and rich in-depth tours is the most popular product, representing 66% of the respondents, followed by wellness retreats and sustainable tourism, accounting for 62%. Very interestingly, integration of technology and digital products is also welcomed by respondents, making up nearly 56%. Meanwhile, the findings also show that people are very interested in immersive cultural and lifestyle experiences and personalized products, constituting 47% and 46% respectively. This is probably because Chinese travelers are increasingly moving beyond traditional tourism options and instead pursuing high-value, tailor-made experiences. Another key question we asked the Chinese professionals was what type of international suppliers and partners they are looking for. It is found that theme, customs, tourism suppliers are the most popular, accounting for nearly 68% of the respondents. 44% and 42% of respondents are seeking attractions and economy accommodation suppliers. This is perhaps due to more FIT and the young generation's growing demands. It also can be seen that Chinese tour operators are also looking for mass business suppliers and national tourism boards to work with, accounting for 38% and 32% respectively. The last question we asked was regarding their expectations for COITM this October. 72% of respondents expect COITM to build bridges between China travel professionals with overseas tourism boards and associations. 62% of them hope COITM will organize high-quality international scheduled B2B meetings, which we are now setting up for the show. Half of them hope that the show can provide first-hand travel resources from overseas. Also, 43% of respondents want COITM to organize industry conferences and social networks. As the show organizer, we really appreciate all the feedback and expectations from the industry. COITM is dedicated to providing opportunities for both international and Chinese professionals, fostering an upgraded industry ecosystem and driving tourism towards greater diversity, personalization, and sustainability, and to delivering continuous value for the industry. Dear industry friends, my colleague Jane, our Global Sales Director, will speak more about how COITM can help you to reach the China market. Thank you very much for watching. Now I will pass you to Jane. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ching. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. As mentioned, I'm Jane Carter, and I've worked in the China outbound travel market for the past 20 years. My time in the China market has been spent originally organising COTTM, which successfully ran for 18 years. And now my attention is focused on the newly launched China outbound and inbound travel market, COITM. My colleagues and myself are all still together to organise the event from the 14th to the 16th of October in Beijing. We not only bring a wealth of experience, but also a tremendous database and support from the key Chinese tour operators, tourism boards, and the media, who all support this brand new venture. We now also have the freedom to add new initiatives to the event to run a fresh and exciting show. We'd like to demonstrate how we can assist you in the market with COITM, which really is the best, most cost-effective way to meet the right contacts in the China market. The show is expected to welcome 300 exhibitors from 50 different countries and attract 4,000 visitors, buyers. Here you will see a breakdown of what makes up the visitor audience to the event and who you will meet at the show. The visitors vary from large tour operators to theme tour operators to MICE buyers. The types of products our Chinese tour operators are interested in are detailed in this slide. The show is made up of destinations and tourism boards and the private sector supplying a range of travel products from hotels, airlines and DMCs, etc. We have received amazing support really from the Chinese tour operators and the industry as a whole, as they all feel there is a vital need for a very strong trade travel show in Beijing. This includes the China Tourism Academy, HCG and UTour. By participating at COITM, you will have exposure to an incredible 30,000 verified trade professionals, plus a further 5,000 WeChat contacts and 8,000 followers on social media platforms. As well as getting the support from the Chinese tour operators, we also have the full backing from the Chinese media. And here you will see who will be covering the show and our exhibitors. At the event, we will be organising a VIP programme and we'll be inviting 300 VIP buyers to attend. These buyers will be from Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou and Shenzhen, demonstrating that whilst most of our audience will be from the north, we do have a much wider reach across the rest of China. We will be organising a pre-scheduled appointment system where the Chinese buyers can go online and request appointments with our exhibitors. Once a buyer has requested an appointment, as an exhibitor, you will receive a notification asking you to confirm the meeting. Another important aspect of our event is the conference, which runs alongside. The conference attracts a large audience of 200 people, and sometimes we do have it's just standing room only. The conference is educational and covers key topics and trends for the outbound market. And we do welcome speakers, particularly representatives of overseas destinations. New for this year and in line with what is happening in the marketplace, we have also introduced a conference for the inbound market. With the Chinese government's agenda to increase inbound tourism into China, and with some of the key Chinese tour operators now serving the inbound market, we have a dedicated conference to both outbound and inbound tourism. We would also like to invite overseas buyers who are active in the Chinese inbound market to register to visit so that they can meet inbound travel suppliers at the show. We successfully launched a couple of years ago the Tourism Investment Forum. This is now another key part of the event. Destinations who are looking for tourism investment have the opportunity of presenting ongoing projects that require investment to an audience of Chinese investors. Now, for those of you that might be new to China, we just wanted to make sure that you are fully prepared for the market. Setting up a WeChat account is essential, as this is the key communication tool in China. It would be advisable to set up an account for your company and also register as a user yourself. Pre-show, we also just wanted to point out that it is important that you have your company literature and graphics translated into Chinese, as this helps with smoother communication. It is also advisable to have a Chinese speaker on your stand to avoid missing out on any vital leads. If you do not have a Chinese member of staff, then you can actually hire a translator through us. Another tip is also suggesting that you bring suitable adapters, as this can be an issue on site. So just to summarise, COITM will welcome 4,000 visitors buyers. We will be providing additional digital marketing support for those exhibitors who secure their participation before the 1st of April. Beijing is not only the capital of China, but is the main hub for the head offices of the Chinese tour operators. So in effect, we are providing a platform for them that is literally on their doorstep. We also know that we have a very high percentage of visitors within our database who have already expressed interest in registering to visit COITM 2026. Please do contact myself or my colleague Sarah for the latest information on the show. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll pass you back to Sienna.
Thank you, Jane. Now we're ready to give you the very first look at the results of Dragon Trail's newest Chinese outbound travel trade survey, and I will turn over to Tiana to get us started with that.
Thank you, Sienna. Now we are very excited to give you the very first look at the results of latest travel trade survey from Dragon Trail Research. The survey was conducted between 22 to 31 December in 2025 and include 315 verified participants who are all travel trade professionals currently selling outbound travel products from mainland China. We'll share most of the results here, and you will get a copy of the webinar slides after the presentation. But you can also access the full report for free on the resources section of the Dragon Trail website. In our survey, nearly 3/4 of surveyed respondents worked for travel agencies, with rest working for OTAs and customized travel operators, and a few for MICE travel companies. They work for companies from all over China, with significant representation from East China, North China, and South China. Let's start from 2025 market status and 2026 outlook. In 2025, East Asia was still the sub-region with the widest product coverage and the strongest sales performance in the market. Southeast Asia rebounded to second place, having split it to third in our last Chinese outbound travel trade survey in July 2025. European travel products were offered by 75% of survey travel agencies, with 42% of respondents rating the region as having the strongest sales performance. Within the region, Western Europe was sold by the most travel agents, while Northern Europe showed the best sales performance. Product coverage for the Americas, Oceania, Africa, and Antarctica stood at 41%, 31%, 12%, and 6% respectively. What influences Chinese travelers' choice of outbound destinations? Destination safety is undoubtedly the top factor. 79% of surveyed travel agents thought destination safety has extreme impact on Chinese travelers' decisions. Visa-free policies and direct flights are the other two key influencing factors, chosen by 57% and 52% of surveyed travel agents, respectively. These practical considerations outweighed a destination's nature and cultural resources, social media marketing, and events and festivals, among other factors. According to travel agencies' observations, the Chinese outbound travel market maintained overall growth in 2025, yet at a slower rate. Younger travelers and the silver demographic were the key driver groups in the market. Independent travel showed robust growth in 2025, while group travel shifted towards smaller group sizes. In addition, Chinese travelers demonstrated a strong demand for in-depth travel, featuring longer stays and deep cultural exploration. Short-haul destinations such as Singapore and South Korea continue to enjoy sustained popularity in 2025. Meanwhile, the appeal of European destinations was on the rise. Chinese travelers are increasingly inclined to opt for safe and developed destinations due to geopolitical concerns. Travel agencies opine that a growing number of travelers will prefer to visit countries friendly to China. Niche attractions are gaining increasing popularity among Chinese travelers, driven by social media marketing and visa-free policies. Looking ahead to 2026, 62% of surveyed travel agents believe that Chinese market demand for outbound travel will see moderate growth, with another 25% forecasting significant growth. In their eyes, emerging demands from Chinese outbound travel market that are worth watching in 2026 include a growing preference for visa-friendly destinations, heightened emphasis on destination safety and security, social media-driven interest in niche destinations and travel routes, rising popularity of themed travel products, and wider adoption of AI tools among travelers. That's all for insights into 2025 market and 2026 outlook. Now let's turn over to Janice for the next part of sharing.
Thank you, Tiana. So we have already seen some of the most significant trends in the Chinese outbound travel market. In this section, let's look at how these trends are reflected in the products and sales performance of Chinese travel agents, and how they are adapting to the needs of today's outbound travelers. We asked Chinese travel agents what types of outbound travel products they are currently selling and which ones have seen the fastest growth in 2025. Small and private group tours stood out as the most popular product type, with 64% of survey agents selling them and 49% identifying it as the fastest growing product, which aligns with the shift towards smaller group sizes mentioned by Tiana. As Chinese travelers increasingly seek customized and in-depth experiences in outbound travel, customized luxury travel and themed travel also see strong market demand, sold by over half of our survey respondents. Notably, 20% of respondents said that independent travel was growing fastest, just behind themed travel. Chinese outbound travelers tend to be spontaneous, which is reflected not only in their preferences for visa-free destinations, but also in their booking habits. 1/3 of survey respondents said their outbound travel clients usually book trips between 2 weeks and 1 month before traveling, with another 47% indicating that travelers would book within 14 days of departure, and even shorter notice period. It is quite rare for a Chinese outbound traveler to book more than 2 months in advance. In response to the ever-evolving travel preferences and behaviors of Chinese tourists, how are Chinese travel agents planning to upgrade their outbound travel products in 2026? The most frequently mentioned adaptation by survey respondents is to deliver more personalized products and customized services. For example, some travel agents are planning to provide products tailored to different demographics or increase the range of customizable accommodation and activity options in their packages. Chinese travel agents are also ready to develop more small private group tours and introduce more travel itineraries to niche visa-free destinations such as Russia and Kazakhstan. And to present the rest of our survey findings, I will turn over to Sienna.
Thanks, Janice. Now it's time to talk. Thanks. Sorry. Now it's time to talk about winter travel, which of course includes the Chinese New Year holiday. 98.4% of our survey respondents said they were already selling outbound travel products for Chinese New Year 2026. So we asked them what was selling best. Medium haul destinations were the most popular, chosen by 61%, followed by short haul destinations at 30%. Chinese New Year is a peak time for family travel, and 52% of agents said that families with children were the top traveler segment. Warm weather and island holidays were the most popular theme, followed by ice and snow experiences. Private and small group travel stood out as the leading mode of travel, chosen by 55%. Which destinations will be most popular this Chinese New Year? We asked travel agents to write in which outbound destinations were selling best, so they were free to write anything and also mention multiple destinations in their answer. 61% mentioned destinations in Asia, including geographic regions and specific countries and cities. Among the countries, South Korea took the lead, followed by Thailand, Singapore, and Japan, and Malaysia. Newly visa-free Russia ranked 6th, with respondents mentioning specific cities throughout the country, Moscow, Vladivostok, and Murmansk. 25.8% of respondents mentioned destinations in Europe, which included Russia, with Iceland, Norway, and France the next most popular countries. What also stands out about the destination list, which you can see in the word cloud on the left, is its diversity. Survey respondents mentioned a total of 47 countries and 15 geographic regions spread across every continent and from the Arctic to the Antarctic. Some travel agents chose to describe the kinds of destinations selling best rather than to name any specific country or region. Their responses included islands, good environment and pleasant temperatures, holiday relaxation and winter escape, and leisure islands and seasonal routes, all emphasizing relaxing and comfortable choices. More than half of travel agents said the outbound trips of 4 to 7 days are the most popular at Chinese New Year, with another 41% choosing trips of 8 to 12 days. In terms of cost, around 1/3 each said that clients would spend 5,000 to 10,000 RMB, which is equal to approximately 700 to 1,400 US dollars, or 10,000 to 20,000 RMB, which is about 1,400 to 2,900 US dollars. 19% of travel agents said that travelers would spend more than 20,000 RMB per person on average. The Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics was a major catalyst for rising interest in snow sports among Chinese consumers. With the 2026 Milan Cortina Olympics coming up next month, the trend for ice and snow tourism continues to grow, according to nearly 2/3 of travel agents. Our respondents saw the greatest growth potential for unique winter experiences like ice fishing and hot springs in the snow. Actually, the title slide for today's webinar shows a hot air balloon flight in the snow in Turkey, which I thought was particularly appropriate as the kind of travel experience that might be highly sought after now. The type of product chosen by the next most respondents was Northern Lights and other winter nature experiences, which helps to explain the popularity of Russia, Iceland, Norway, and other Nordic destinations during the Chinese New Year holiday. I'm now going to wrap up our survey findings with a quick look at B2B engagement in 2026. We asked travel agents how they would most like to work with overseas tourism destinations and other suppliers in 2026. As in our survey last year at this time, they identified fam trips as the most helpful way to learn about and work with overseas destinations and travel businesses. Small-scale offline events also continued to be popular, with travel agents benefiting from a focused and intimate professional setting. Live streams and online presentations were again chosen as the most favored online resource, as they have been consistently since 2024. Around 1/3 of respondents said that large-scale travel trade shows were most helpful. 97% of our respondents said they attended travel trade shows in 2025 and plan to do so again in 2026. Shows held in mainland China, such as COITM, were the most popular. And then outside of mainland China, ATM in Dubai was the most popular travel trade show in 2025, as well as a top choice for 2026, alongside MITE in Macau, ITE in Hong Kong, IBTM in Barcelona, and ITB Asia in Singapore. You can find more details about travel trade shows in our full report, which is available to download from the Dragon Trail website. So that brings us to the end of our survey data and time to discuss 5 of the top takeaways. First, 87% of surveyed travel agents forecast growth in China's outbound travel market in 2026, with most expecting modest growth. In 2025, growth rates did slow, but were strongest among silver and younger demographics, which is also something we saw in Qing's survey findings, alongside small group travel and FIT. In addition, Chinese travelers are demonstrating a stronger demand for in-depth trips featuring longer stays and cultural exploration, as well as interest in niche destinations inspired by social media content. Second, safety has always been a top priority for Chinese travelers, and travel agents now say it's even more important than ever. The next most important influences on destination choice are visa policy and direct flight connections. Travel agents told us that visa-friendly policies particularly suit the spontaneous nature of Chinese outbound tourism. Third, Asia and Northern Europe are the most popular destinations this Chinese New Year, but Chinese travelers are venturing far and wide, including Antarctica, Oman, Chile, and Vanuatu. As of the end of December 2025, South Korea, Thailand, and Singapore topped the list, with Russia, Iceland, Norway, and France among the most popular long-haul destinations. Fourth, the popularity of ice and snow tourism continues to grow in China. Unique winter experiences like hot springs in the snow and nature tourism, including the Northern Lights, have the most potential to grow even more in the coming years. And lastly, to meet the demands of today's outbound travelers, Chinese travel agents are preparing to upgrade customization services, respond better to personalized demands, and develop more small and private tours in 2026. Itinerary builder technology and other AI services is one solution to help them provide this. As you may know, Dragon Trail launched our own AI itinerary builder for travel agents in 2025. And we have also been using AI technology successfully to facilitate B2B meetings and presentations at offline events. Apart from this, we offer a very comprehensive range of travel trade marketing services for China. So if you're thinking of organizing a fam trip, offering online or offline training to the Chinese travel trade, exhibiting at a trade show in China, or other outreach activities, we are able to help with that. So please do get in touch after the webinar. If you're looking for even more information on Chinese New Year travel, as well as a long-term forecast for China's outbound travel market, you won't want to miss our next webinar, which is coming up in 3 weeks on Wednesday, the 11th of February. Guest speaker Michael Shuri from Tourism Economics will be joining us with projections for Chinese outbound tourism through 2030. You can sign up for that through the events section of the Dragon Trail website, as well as the link on the slide here, which you will receive together with all of the other presentation materials later today. Now, one last thing before we move on to Q&A, I just wanted to remind you that you'll be able to find the Chinese outbound travel trade survey report to download for free from the Dragon Trail website immediately following this webinar. You'll also be able to find all of our past travel trade surveys and consumer surveys, as well as other reports, market updates, webinar videos, and lots of other free resources. So please do check that out. So thank you very much to all of our speakers and for everyone listening today. And we are now ready to answer your questions, which you can submit using the Q&A button on your Zoom control panel.